Well, thank you very much, Hardy. It is indeed a great privilege and honour for me to be with you for your conference, the ACI North America Conference. And it's a particular pleasure to be here in Pittsburgh, one of the great cities that have contributed to the United States and its development in so many ways, both in terms of industrial development and intellectual development. And it's a great pleasure. And Brad, I want to thank you in particular and your team in Pittsburgh Gold for the wonderful reception you've given to me and I'm sure to all of us that are attending the conference. But we are in a time of great change in aviation, and your conference theme reflects that. But it is a time of change and challenge which is global. And as Hardy mentioned, I think many of the problems, if not all of the problems that we face across a range of issues in aviation are now becoming problems which are global and which have global implications. Some of them are geopolitical, some of them are technical, and some of them are in the growth of new economies. In the ACI North America and Europe board discussion yesterday, we had a very interesting presentation on the economics of global aviation and the growth of aviation in the new and emerging markets of Asia, the Pacific, Latin America, and Africa. And that is something, of course, that is a matter of change and dynamic which we're all having to deal with. So it is terribly important that we recognize the need for cooperative action and global initiatives which are integrated. And I'm very pleased to say that even though we face many problems, I think there is a clear recognition amongst the key sectors of our industry, airports, airlines, and regulatory authorities, that there is much to do and it will be best done through an integrated and global approach. And in this regard, I'm very pleased that ACI North America supports the essential and central role of ICAO as an appropriate venue to establish a global regulatory framework for our industry, covering important areas such as safety, the environment, security. The fact that the ICAO Council and Triennial Conference is to meet in Montreal over the next 3 weeks is terribly important. And I know that the United States administration is taking a particularly proactive role in seeking to find new and productive ways for us all to cooperate within the ICAO framework. The World Governing Board of ACI is doing its bit to help to improve our focus towards ICAO. We are recommending to our conference next month that the ACI World Headquarters moves from Geneva to Montreal, so that Angela Gittins and her dedicated team are able to focus their effort on behalf of the world membership in terms of us pulling our weight with ICAO. And I'm very hopeful, indeed more than hopeful, I'm optimistic that our membership will collectively support this move, which I think is vital in the current world environment. On security, we were very fortunate yesterday to have Mr. John Pistol talk to us. It took me a little while to come to grips with the name as head of the Transport Security Administration, but I thought, well, this is America and anything is possible. And having a close and immediate contact with the TSA every time I pass through the metal detectors because of my knees, which are artificial, I was very pleased to hear the positive approach which Mr. Pistol intends to take towards looking towards new and innovative ways of simplifying but yet maintaining an effective security regime for the future. I think this is a great challenge for our industry globally. There is no doubt that we face a threat, no doubt about that at all. And the United States in particular faces threats. And we in ACI World support the need for a strong security presence. But I have no doubt in my own mind that the present system is unsustainable for the long term. As aviation continues to grow, we cannot have a situation where every time you travel, you are treated as if it is the first time you've traveled, and there is a repeat of very strong security measures. There needs to be better and smarter technology. There needs to be better, more reflective, more reactive human intervention. It's not going to be easy because there are very legitimate political and community concerns to be met. But nevertheless, I think a lot of work is being done here in the United States and in Europe to find innovative ways for the future. On the environment, I think we are all faced with challenges for the future, and it's great to be in this convention centre which is leading the way in green technology. I had the privilege of attending the ATAC Global Environment Summit in Geneva last week, at which IATA, ACI, and the navigation regulatory authority organizations led by CANSO were present. Pardon me. I think in the most important message I took out of that discussion was that the three areas of activity which govern our business, airports, airlines, and air navigation authorities, were agreed that we need to work together to find integrated solutions that will be effective and practical for the aviation industry. I think of all the industries in the world, in a sense, that is a big plus for aviation, that the key players want to work together. We must recognise that we're going to have to change the way in which we operate in terms of environmental sustainability. I'm very strongly supportive of the initiative for accreditation, environment accreditation for airports as we move towards seeking carbon neutrality over the forthcoming years. Big challenges vary airport by airport, but nevertheless, I think a reality which we need to address. And as I said, I think strong support to recognise that IATA and the airports need to work together in achieving this. And thirdly, I think in terms of passenger facilitation, all of our airports are increasingly sophisticated and complex passenger facilitation venues. It's interesting, of course, that some of the greatest developments and some of the most innovative developments are taking place outside of the traditional areas of the United States, North America, Canada, and Europe. They're taking place in China. They're taking place in the Middle East. And there are many lessons that we can all learn from the very high-tech airports which are being built in China and the Middle East and in Southeast Asia. I mean, those of you that pass through Changi Airport or Incheon Airport in Seoul, they are doing great jobs in developing their passenger facilitation and improving their systems. And those of us like Sydney, we recognise that we have much to learn from these new techniques and new technologies, but which will all be in the interests of our shared customers, the airline passenger and the airline freight company that wants to use our facilities. And the work that ACI is doing in regard to quality accreditation for airports is of vital importance and one which I commend to all of you. So in the challenges that you are facing today, ACI, I hope you will see in both not only in a North American sense but in a global sense as providing a vital and useful element of cooperation and understanding and progress which will be of benefit to you and your organisations. We are increasingly a global industry. We are of national significance in every country, and there is an increasing need to recognise our importance by regulators, governments, and the general community. Thank you for allowing me to be present with you here today.